this, he also said that God would come back, but he would look like him. Hey, not only is God coming back on TV worldwide on March 31st, 1998 at 12:01 a.m., but get this, he's gonna look like me. Yo, what? Hey, how have you been? It's just been a while since you and I have just sat down and talked about, like, crazy cultists and, like, false prophets, so it's good to be back. That's all I'm saying. But hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be covering the Chen Tao cult. But yeah, before we do that, please make sure to drop your boy a like, comment, and subscribe. But no, seriously, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because these videos actually take a really long time to make, and you'd be doing me the biggest favor if you actually did do those things. But without further ado, let's cover the Chen Tao cult. A man named Han Ming Chen was a guy from a place called Taiwan. In 1997, he moved to the United States with some of his homies. Suddenly, Chen and his group suddenly claimed that God was going to show up on TV. And they believed this. No one else did, though. Only they believed this, though. Now, where and when did this happen? This happened in late 1997 and early 1998 somewhere in Garland, Texas. And this is when they were setting up camp. And yeah, they just waited for God, packed into like this TV studio. Also, a lot of people were so convinced that they spend nights there. I'm now realizing that this actually happened. This actually happened. How much of a psychological manipulative genius was Chen Tao to convince a group of, not one or two, but a group of people that God was gonna come back, but he was gonna come back in the form of a TV. Well, not in the form of a TV. He would be on TV, but through the TV. They told reporters and local TV people that, like, hey, God's gonna come back on TV soon. Chen told everybody that God would appear on television on March 31st, 1998 at 12:01 a.m. Which, by the way, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. If you're a false prophet like this dude was, I'm not a false prophet, but I'm not a prophet, period. I'm a Christian who makes YouTube videos and likes glorifying God, so yeah. But, I'm no genius. But if I was a false prophet who didn't know for a fact that something was going to happen, I wouldn't give them an exact date. Like, for example, if I told you and I lied to you and I said, I'm gonna set a cookie stand up, and I'm lying, I'm not actually going to, why would I give you a date? Why would I give you a date that's gonna happen, even if it isn't? So if you wait for that cookie stand and, hey, buddy, time's up, where's the cookie stand? That's the stupidest thing you could have done. Poor people. How gullible can you be to believe that God is gonna come back and he's gonna come back on the TV? My main question is if, they believed that God was coming back on the TV. So if they were, watching TV and, Jesus just popped up at, March 31st, 1998 at, 12:01 p.m. or a.m., and he just popped up, would that have fulfilled the prophecy? Would it? Oh, and by the way, they didn't just say, it wasn't just in America. God is going to appear on TV worldwide when this happens. Bro, as a false prophet, this dude should not have been making, prophecies like this. Bro just turned his cookie stand into a whole cookie factory. And get this, he also said that God would come back, but he would look like him. Hey, not only is God coming back on TV worldwide on March 31st, 1998 at 12:01 a.m., but get this, he's gonna look like me. Yo, what? How did he get away with this? How did he convince someone that this was actually going to happen? That's my question. I'm asking the important questions. Oh, and also, they wore cowboy hats and white robes because they thought Texas was holy, which I don't even want to get started there. Which is funny to think about. Imagine disciples, they're just pure, white gown, looking all holy, and then, they just cowboy hat. Oh my goodness. Poor people. Why did they believe this? Also, they lived quietly in houses that they rented in Garland, Texas. They prayed and watched TV all day and night, just like waiting for something to happen. Which, why would you just wait for something to happen? Your false teacher gave you a date that this thing was going to happen. What? And reporters and like news crews would like show up just to like see what would happen. Which, now thinking back on it, why would you do that? But guess what? That time comes. It's March 31st, 1998. They're looking to the TV screen. They're looking, and nothing happens. No God, no special broadcast, just TV. What did you think was going to happen? You really believed your teacher, okay, when he told you God is going to come back. Okay. But he's going to come back on the TV. Okay, well, that's a bit weird. But when he does come back on TV, he's going to look like me. That should have been your ticket right there. As soon as he said that, boom, you should have walked out right there. Why would you listen to anything he says after that? He basically claimed to be God. Man, this is wild. Some of, like, the members, when a lot of them were pretty upset. A lot of them were shocked. A lot of them cried. A lot of them were like, hey, maybe he is coming back, but it's just, like, the wrong time zone. Which, oh, come on. And a lot of people did leave, but a lot of them were just still, like, in, like, what's the word? In denial. That's the word. They were still in denial that it didn't happen. So they were just like still there waiting for something to happen, even though nothing happened. After 19 or whatever, I'm not saying the date anymore. I've already said it a bunch of times in this video. Why not? After March 31st, 1998 at 12:01 a.m., I really hope it's 12:01 a.m. because if I look back on this editing it and I do not say the right thing, I'm going to lose it. And, you know, after March 31st of, like, 1998 at 12:01 a.m., you know, as you could possibly, you know, assume, since, you know, your boy's prophecy didn't work at all and God didn't come back like he said he would, he had to say something, you know, because only, you know, he already digged himself in a hole. Might as well dig him into another deeper one. I don't know. And then he was like, hey, wait, guys. Maybe humans are not ready for God to appear. This man was just pulling stuff out of his... And he was like, oh, maybe God changed his mind. Or maybe I misunderstood the message from heaven. What? So basically, he was just making stuff up. He tried making a bunch of stuff up so he could get people to stay in this cult. Which, by the way, I'm just going to put myself in, like, these, like, follower shoes. If my teacher, who I trusted, got a false prophecy wrong, if he got a prophecy wrong and said, wait, maybe God was wrong, maybe God changed his mind, sir, back up. You're supposed to be, you claim to be a prophet, and you got the thing wrong. I'm not believing you anymore, Hefe. Out the door. And you gotta think, people gave up their lives for this dude. A lot of people were like, wait a minute, nothing happened. And then they were like, oh, he said it like it was 100% real, and they believed it. And you gotta think, a lot of people gave up their lives for this dude. They gave up their jobs, homes, overall life. Now, there were two types of people in this situation, okay? One of them, the group of people, were like, okay, well, maybe Chen was still right. Maybe let's keep following him, and hopefully he's right about something. And the other group was like, this dude is a false prophet, and he just tricked us out of our old life. If we're being for real, if I was them, I'd be mad too. Even if I was weird enough to follow a cultist who had no definitive proof that he was a prophet of God, I don't know. Now, where do the police play in this role? Basically, what did the police do? Because of how strange and public the cult was, local police and the FBI, that's right, you heard it, FBI, were watching this cult and just not even doing anything, kind of just spectating them to see what they would do and if anything ended up being dangerous. They didn't do anything at first because the group wasn't hurting anybody. But after the prophecy failed, they made sure to keep a closer eye on them to make sure they weren't, you know, boo-booing themselves, hurting themselves, and they weren't, you know, trying to lay harm to any other people. After the big, like, TV prophecy failed, Chen knew he had to come up with something or else all the people were going to leave him. So he settled for spaceships. Spaceships. So he was like, okay, God is gonna come back on TV and he's gonna look like me. Oh, that failed? Of course it did. And then he was like, okay, old-fashioned cultist thing. Spaceships are gonna come and we're gonna be very happy on the spaceship. Basically, here's what he said next. He's like, oh, actually, spaceships are coming to save us. There are gods living on other planets and we will be taken up to a higher plane of Earth. Or no. Wait, yeah, he said that. He said that, oh, bet, we're going to be taken to a higher world, just not now. And now they're just waiting for spaceships. So we're like, okay, we were chosen to be with these special beings. Not with these special beings, but we were chosen, and as long as we just wait, it'll happen. Basically, if we stay faithful, we will be taken away from this earth. Now, instead of watching the TV for God, they looked up at the sky for God. And by now, the group was just getting smaller and sadder. Like, imagine if you were waiting on... Well, we are waiting on Jesus to come back, but this is different. Like, they are being deceived by a false teacher and prophet. A lot of people had left, and a lot of people were confused or felt betrayed. A lot of people were really confused, but they stayed loyal to Chen. Which I don't know why you would. Boy was wrong about one prophecy, and he's about to be wrong about another. And then all of them just, like, moved off and, like, moved away from Texas altogether. A lot of them went to New York, and a lot of them kind of just, like, went back to Taiwan. Yeah. Now, what happened to Chen? After everything just, like, went wrong, Chen stopped making big predictions, and he moved back to Taiwan. He still talked about, like, aliens, UFOs, gods, but he stayed out of the public eye. Now, what happened to his followers? A lot of people still believed in the stuff Chen said. They just kept quiet about it. And you gotta think, Chen led these people away from their old lives. Meaning they had to go back to their old lives, which they left it behind. So they just had to, like, start new. The cult has become known as one of the weirdest doomsday cults of the 1990s. It became one of those, like, stereotypical, like, cults. Like, the teacher or the psycho-cultist, as some might say, claimed to be a prophet of God and told all these people that that God was gonna come back and he was gonna be on TV. And, like, all this stuff was gonna happen, and oh, that failed, and then he said that they were gonna go on spaceships. But, like, unlike other, psycho cults, like Jonestown and Heaven's Gate, which I think I have covered them both, yeah, I'm pretty sure, this cult, unlike, Jonestown and Heaven's Gate, did not have any violence, and no one passed away. It was more of an embarrassing, like, cult than it was it was more peaceful than it was, like, violent, is what I'm trying to say. It was more of a weird, embarrassing cult than it was a violent one. But yeah! That was it. Did you guys like the video? I think I might go back to doing historical religious videos for a while, you know. What about the Bible series? Guys, calm down. I will get to the Bible series. I've already finished the entire New Testament. The book of Mark, I don't want to say it's in production, but the book of Matthew is out. I kind of just want to keep doing these historical little funny videos because, you know, I really like doing these videos and I think they're really nice. And I think one thing I like talking about is, like, I like having fun making content and spreading the gospel. So when I'm not having fun and just, like, being, like, happy when doing these videos, it kind of just takes the fun out of it. So I kind of like these, you know, yeah, let's go. But yeah, thank you. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because these videos actually take a really long time to make and you'd be doing me the biggest favor if you actually did do those things. But without further ado, I already did the video. But yeah, I feel like that's about it. Please subscribe to. We're about to hit 80,000 subscribers. I thank you, I love you, and God bless.